Share Shootout brought to you by Lion of Africa Insurance, insuring South Africa's future.
Welcome back to the battleground that is Share Shootout. You're watching CNBC Africa. Before the break, Chris and Viv gave us each two of their share picks. Viv with Vodacom and FirstRand. Both of those were considered very carefully by Chris Gilmour. Vodacom got the big thumbs up. FirstRand got the big thumbs down, and Viv has got one more to come. And then Chris Gilmour, both of his so far have been shot down this evening. Tsogo Sun Holdings and Mr. Price Group, two great companies, but are they great shares? Viv Govender doesn't think so, which makes your third pick really difficult for him to say no to, because he's got to accept your Coronation Fund Managers pick. He has a 20 billion rand odd fund manager based in Newlands in Cape Town, shooting the lights out from a performance perspective. But plus, its own performance has gone stellar, over $50. 30 seconds start now.
Yeah. If you look at this company and you compare it with its international peers, and I saw a research report the other day that shows quite categorically that it's trading on half the PE of its international peers, and yet its earnings is at least twice that. You know, it's quite phenomenal what they've done. Sitting on 400 billion rands worth of assets under management, and this, as you say, has just been a stellar performer, and it's, in my opinion, not that expensive.
Okay, so here you got Coronation, which is at about, 19 billion market cap, a multiple of 24 times. You're just so concise. You've got the Twitter approach to Share Shootout, Chris Gilmour. But here you've got Coronation Fund Managers with really stellar trading update coming out recently. Profit growth of about 80%, I think they said they were doing. But how much of Coronation is owned by management at Coronation?
About 29% of.
So 29% of the shares are owned by management. How much of Coronation is owned in Coronation funds? Because that'd be interesting to see how the fund managers have expressed faith in their own company and putting it into their own client portfolios over the last 5 years.
I suspect quite a bit. I haven't done that calculation, but that would be very instructive to find out.
Okay, I think there's a call to make to the new chief executive at Coronation. But do you like Coronation?
Yes, I think I was wise to have waited. So yes, I do think it's the right place to go to. And if you look at the South African retirement industry as a whole, people are really under saving. There's huge margin for growth, huge ability to grow into this market here. People are not saving anywhere near enough to actually finance their retirement.
Pause here a second. Yeah. People don't have money to go to the casino tables. They don't have money to go and buy a new shirt at Mr. Price. They've got no money to go to give Coronation to go and save for them.
Yes, but government gives you a nice little incentive to do that here. And also, I mean, I think it's a bit wiser to go and put your money in your retirement fund as opposed to in the blackjack table.
It may be wiser, but people prefer to put money in the blackjack table and on flashy new clothes than they do to save. Because part of their problem with under-saving is people have been going to the casino tables and into the retailers long before they have popped over to Newlands and said to the guys, here's 500 rand, please save it for me.
But I have to have faith that we would approach it like, first world levels of saving, etc. As the economy grows, as the economy gets more educated, people have to understand they can't live off the government grant. It's not going to be enough for them. As the country gets wealthier, there's going to be something to look at.
That's not Coronation's market, though. Coronation doesn't care about the government grant. Quite pleased that government grants exist, but it wants people with money to come and save. Yeah. And just how stressed is that market in terms of the savings environment?
Look, I think the great thing about that, the upper end towards individual, the high net worth individual is doing quite well in this economy. Look at the recent stats. Bentleys are selling out, Porsches are selling out. The world for the wealthy is looking okay. The question in South Africa is there's more middle class people, more educated middle class people who are not going to be dependent on the government grant. They have to put their own savings away, and that is where Coronation is going to step in.
Is Coronation going to keep making this sort of performance fees, Chris Gilmour, that have been driving profits to the extent they have?
I think so. Success breeds success, and companies like this, if they go out there into the market and they're able to demonstrate that phenomenal track record, I think they're going to be able to keep it for quite some time to come.
And the track record is good.
It really is outstanding.
And he's very glad he waited. You're accepting.
Yes, I am.
You're accepting Coronation Fund Managers. He took one of yours, Chris Gilmour. I think he was terribly unfair on the first two, incidentally, but that's just between us. Viv Govender, you've given us Vodacom, you've given us FirstRand. He's accepted Vodacom. He's perfectly entitled to also accept your third share if he likes it enough. The hospital sector is always an interesting one. In South Africa, you've got 3 private hospital groups to choose from. You can go for Mediclinic, you can go for Netcare. Why are you going for Life Healthcare? 30 seconds.
Well, Life Healthcare is actually one of the more efficient of the providers in the sector. It also has expansionary plans into India, for instance, and that's obviously a good thing. Looking at the economy, looking at the requirement that they do have for private healthcare. I think the fact that it is an efficient provider, it has expanding the right area of the world here. The fact of the matter is, it also is doing things in a way that's basically targeting the lower end consumer. That's also a great growing market, I think, as well. A lot of government business coming through gems, etc. So those factors together makes it actually my pick in the sector. And I like the sector, quite frankly, overall, due to the fact that it's a defensive sector in an environment that's a bit nervous.
He's been very cautious this evening, gone very conservative with Vodacom, FirstRand, and now with Life Healthcare. Would you, in a month of Sundays, pick Life Healthcare as a stock?
Like the company, I like the way it's managed. My only concern is the fact that it's in such a highly regulated sector of the market. And while there is so much uncertainty as to what's going to happen with the National Health Initiative, for example, we've tended to give the medical sector a bit of a wide berth.
But what has happened under the new health minister, though, that there's been a very pragmatic and a very grown-up approach to the private healthcare sector. There's a greater level of cooperation than anybody could have envisaged from those original dreadful draft documents that came out of the ANC, which basically said this will become Joseph Stalin Pty Limited into the future, and we're going to destroy the private health sector because it makes the rest of it look bad.
Yeah, no, I agree. I mean, you only have to look as far as Canada to see how you don't do it. And I agree, there's been a far more pragmatic approach. The company itself, I think, astonishingly well managed, and as Viv says, lower end of the market. This is the old Afrox healthcare, from what I remember, And I think, it's a good operation. I would accept it.
Okay, you would accept it.
Yes.
So he's taken 2 of your shares this evening, Viv Govender. Now, Viv, give me a sense of it, though. Why Life Healthcare over a Netcare or a Mediclinic? Is those international exposures of those other 2 just a little bit too risky?
Netcare's exposures in the UK, I think you all know the property corporation, the operating corporation there. There's a whole mess up that they did. They went there and paid too high a price for the hospitals, and they are in a bit of a mess at the moment. Even compared to Mediclinic, because Life Healthcare just operates cheaper. I mean, even the maintenance cost 1.5% versus 2.5% going forward on the capital expenditure. They just do it cheaper, and that's going to be an advantage going forward, I think. And the fact of the matter is that we look at the lower end consumer. Yes, people are maybe looking at government healthcare, etc., but look at government healthcare, look at private healthcare. Given the choice, where would you go?
Absolutely. When last were you in a Life Healthcare hospital? I don't think I've ever been into one of those. And isn't that a problem?
Well, but the thing is, a lot of people would prefer that to going through Baragwana, for instance.
Absolutely, but I quite honestly cannot tell you where my nearest Life Healthcare hospital is, and that becomes a brand issue. I don't know. You go to where you go, but I just don't know where they are, and that to me is slightly odd. But you like it enough to accept it. And in an unprecedented move, for the first time on Share Shootout ever, somebody has accepted 2 of their competitors' stocks, which makes my choice and my life so much easier this evening, because usually we get to the stage of the program and I've got to weigh up the massively complex arguments that have been put forward to me. It's a little bit like trying to judge a Salibi trial or something along those lines. But here we've got Viv Govender with Vodacom, FirstRand and Life Healthcare. Chris Gilmour's accepted Vodacom and accepted Life Healthcare. Well, Chris Gilmour, he's been duffed up by our street fighter, the Gov. With Tsogo Sun Holdings, Mr. Price and Coronation, the Gov waited till the last minute, accepted Coronation Fund Managers and shot down the other 2, which makes it easy for me to say, I'm afraid by being nice, you're gone. You've shot yourself in the foot. Goodbye. I love it how that happens. Anyway, Chris Gilmour is gone. My thanks to you for watching us this evening. We'll be hosting the Battle of the Stock Pickers on the next Tuesday right here on CNBC Africa. Remember to catch me on Twitter to give me your Share Shootout and suggestions. Well done to the Gov, who is this evening's brawler of note. Follow me on Twitter @BruceBusiness. It's one word. Catch us next week again as we continue to pick out a winner and shoot out the rest. And occasionally, our participants shoot themselves in the foot as well. Good night.